everybody, it's Missy from Fuse Glass Coach, and today we are running the 2018 Glass Glue Olympics. Most of us have not used all of the particulars. There are so many options out there for glue, but I will tell you, I am a glue snob. I will admit that to all of you, but I bet some of you are too. Whatever you use, you think is the best. I use the Bullseye products because I think they're the best. Not because I've ever compared them, but because that's what I believe. Well, today we are going to run competing glues in two competitions, two trials. We're going to do clear on clear, putting the glue between and see what happens. And then we're going to put it on top of a glass that we know tends to show the glue a little. In fact, it's why we changed our brand at one point to the Bullseye product from another one. Because if a little bit of glue was left on top of that glass, it was a Bullseye Jade, you could see it there. It looked horrible and we'd have to refire it. So welcome to the 2018 Glass Glue Olympics. Let's see what we have for our competitors. First up from Aloe Vera Stand is aloe vera. This is cheap, it's widely available, it seems to work really well from what most people say, and certainly it's not going to hurt you and it doesn't smell weird. Next, also very commonly used, Elmer's, just Elmer's White. Also very available, doesn't smell too weird, safe, kids use it in school, so that's a good one. Now I've heard people use this straight, and some people are diluting it, so we're going to try both, a 50-50 with water and the straight stuff. Next we have our Bullseye products, which are Glass Tack and Glass Tack Gel. This is the runny stuff that you pour over the top. This we tend to use when we're trying to get something somewhere a little more solidly, like holding down stringer, but they're both in the competition. We have, from the nation of Maxhold, hairspray. Can be very cheap, can be very smelly, but people swear by this stuff, so we're trying that out. Then we have Hotline. It says Fuser's glue, widely available, doesn't smell too weird. Then we have our little smelly friend, Super Glue. Widely available, very smelly, and we've been told that it lets off some fumes in the kiln that are not particularly good for you. We're going to try that too. Then we get to something I'd never heard of. We asked you, what glue do you use? And some people said, dollar store clear nail polish. So we put that in there. I don't know if it's smelly or not. It's certainly widely available and very affordable. It was $1 for that. Getting into our people from Scotland, our Scotch tape. They are our next competitor. Widely available, not very expensive. I'm not sure what you're supposed to do with this and frit, but we'll try out the way we're planning on doing this. Next we have No Days, something I'll admit I'd never heard of. When I took the lid off, I just about fell over backwards. It is a very strong scent, and it's got a really interesting applicator we'll take a look at. And then the last one, PVA. PVA is pH neutral glass glue that is used by bookbinders actually for their purposes. I think it and Elmer's have a very close relationship, however. Our final competitor, well that was nice, our final competitor is nothing. So we are comparing 12 things, one of those things is nothing. I have a clear base here and some 1.5 by 1.5 inch squares. What I'm going to do is put each of these glues both in between the clear on the clear and note it on my chart where it is so we can keep track of this. Then I'm going to put just a dollop of it on top of our jade glass, which has white stringer on it. So we'll be testing it between clears to see how clear it fires, and we're going to try it on top of our jade, both of these at a full fuse, and see how clear they all fire. So let's get started. And first up is our aloe vera. that is everything applied to our test tiles. Now I'm just going to make sure that everything's sort of sitting pretty here. We'll put this in the kiln and we'll get back to you tomorrow with our chart of where they were and what happened, and we'll take a look and see if my snobbery or yours about glue is warranted, and we'll give away our gold, our silver, and our bronze glue medals. See you then. Okay, everyone, now before we get to our results of our very unscientific Olympics of glass glue, I want to say a couple things. First, maybe I didn't use this the way you do. A lot of this I'd never used before. I did look into it because I didn't know what I was supposed to do with tape. But I did the best I could. Secondly, so first of all, maybe it's not used the way you do. Secondly, maybe I didn't let it dry enough. Maybe I let it dry too much. Maybe I used too much or too little. This is not scientific. This is for opening minds, especially my own. Second thing I want to go over is price. I can't tell you which of these is the least expensive because I don't know if you buy wholesale. If you bought wholesale by the gallon or truck Elmer's, it would probably be the least expensive. Full retail, are you getting designer aloe vera or is it just the cheap stuff? The No Days is fairly expensive. Some of the Bullseye products can be, again, bought in small quantities at full retail. So I can't tell you which is the cheapest, except nothing wins the gold medal for cheapest. Nothing did really well, but nothing causes us problems. So there's that. The other thing is, I don't think anyone uses just one of these. I think we have groups of uses. What I mean by that is these are sort of go in the cracks, go over the frit, go over the pieces and hold things together. And that's our nail polish, our No Days, hairspray, glass tack, and the Hotline Fusers glue. I think over here we have some stuff that's used for thicker, unevener uses, although people do go 50-50 on the Elmer's, and then it would kind of go over here and to be poured into the cracks. But I cannot imagine with the thickness of these trying to put that on top of frit and expecting it to go down in. So this is sort of the really runny, the less runny, and then we're sort of down here with our super glue, which unless you're very unlucky, it attaches immediately. And so this we use only for very specific purposes when it just has to not move. A lot of that is people who go on site. The person's work is done, you need it to not move in your car. We also use it if we do what we call a split base. If our base is two pieces and they can't come apart with all that stuff on top of them, we'll super glue the bottom. If we're doing a big bowl, we'll sometimes go around the edges, super glue it, and then not super glue the rest because again, we've heard some terrible things about the fumes. This, I don't even know what to think about. I don't know if I'm supposed to wrap it around the piece. What I did was fold it over and then squash it between the glass. That means you're picking up every single piece and squashing it between the glass. Or maybe if they need to be held together, you just bridge it. This was a problem for me to wrap my head around. But anyway, so those are my don't yell at me statements, to be honest. We tried our best, and now it's time to take a look at our results. All right, that was our drum roll. Here's what we've got. I know it's hard to see because it's clear on clear. We've got it on some black glass. Honestly, I'm not sure that you're going to be able to see any of this. You'll just have to trust me. Aloe vera, don't see anything. PVA, do see a little bit of something here, a little bit of schmutz. Nail polish, don't see anything. Glass tack, nothing. Tape, I can see the tape right there. The outline of it is still there. The Hotline, fine. Glass tack gel, lovely. Nothing, that looks good. Elmer's 100% and 50%, can't see a thing. Super glue, perfect. No Days looks good, hairspray looks good. So what we take away from this is that our PVA and our tape did leave a little bit of residue. Again, maybe if the PVA had been drier or used less, maybe it would have been better. But on top of looking at it immediately, which we did before, I looked at this an hour later, and I'll tell you this. My aloe vera was fine. The glass tack was fine. The glass tack gel was really holding well after an hour. Our super glue was obviously holding really well after 2 seconds. The tape obviously held well after an hour. Our PVA after an hour had a really nice hold on it, but we've got, again, with both of these, some residue. And the Elmer's, surprisingly, both the 100 and the 50% dilution after an hour held really well. So, to me, the winner, glass tack gel after an hour, fabulous, no residue. Elmer's, the same thing. Our super glue held really great after 2 seconds. After an hour held really great, but we've got our residue. So if you need to get this held down quickly and have it dry out, either use less than I used so it will dry quicker, or take a look at that Elmer's and glass tack gel. I will tell you, I am an anti-Elmer's snob. I will continue to be. I have no reason to be. I've been anti-Elmer's from the start, but this did change my mind a little bit about it. Of course, nothing is lovely. We did really well with nothing, but nothing's not going to get you too far. If you don't need an immediate hold and you don't want any smell whatsoever, the aloe vera is great. It didn't hold as well as the equal consistency here is the glass tack gel and the aloe vera, fairly equal consistency. The glass tack gel was holding a lot better after 1 hour. So that's it. Use what you want to use it the way you want to use, clear on clear. The star of the show obviously is nothing because there would be no residue even as a possibility. But if we're looking at, maybe the bronze and the silver medal, our bullseye glass tack gel, our Elmer's, the aloe vera looked great. Super glue's got its issues, but if you need it, it's certainly going to hold and no residue at all. Now we're going to look at our sample on the worst staining glass we know is our bullseye jade. If there's going to be residue from glue on top of the glass, it's going to happen on this color, so that's why we tested it. Our aloe vera, stain. PVA, stain worse. Nail polish, stain. Glass tack a little less. The tape you can see exactly. Hotline, stain. Glass tack gel, stained. Nothing looks great. Elmer's looks pretty darn good. Super glue looks pretty darn good. The No Days left a stain. The hairspray left a stain. So we're back to that Elmer's and our nothing. Looking pretty darn good, and also our glass tack on top. Again, I know it's really hard to see and there's glare. You're just going to have to trust me. But you can trust me because the one thing that I am the snobbish about the most, that I don't like to use, is the Elmer's, and it did pretty darn good. So overall, with both of these tests, I would say use what works best for you. Use what you afford the best. Buy it from the best source. Give this a try yourself, perhaps. You can see how much glass we used. You do have to go out and buy all of these if you're going to test them, and you don't have to test all of them. But if you are an Elmer's person, why not give a couple of these a shot? If you are a No Days person, maybe check out the hairspray or check out some Elmer's. Give it a try, but basically none of these totally failed and didn't hold the glass down. They all did pretty well with that. It's just a matter of our residue. And frankly, folks, I don't get the tape thing. I just don't get it. Anyway, thanks for joining us for our Glass Glue Olympics, for which nothing wins the gold medal. I'm going to give the silver to Elmer's, and I'm going to give the bronze to our glass tack together. Aloe vera's tight in there with it too. Just don't use tape. It's weird. See you next time.